All right, everybody. When will NASCAR return, and who is replacing Larson? So, welcome to the NASCAR Live Chat with Ham, the Engine Man, and my junior right here, Tyler Ham,
Hey, everybody.
who actually just had a birthday. Can y'all hear me okay? I was actually talking away from the microphone. I kind of forgot that I need to be focusing a little bit into the microphone so y'all can hear me better. All right, so we'll get some shout outs to everybody that's tuned in. What's up, Paul Rodriguez? Just talked to him earlier today down in Port St. Lucie, Florida. It sounded like the weather was pretty nice down there in the 70s, which it was close to 70 today here. It was in the mid to upper 60s at times. So what's up, Tom Robinson up in Indiana, Rachel Rodman down in Charlotte, Terry Quinn out in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and Dawn Clark. Hey, what's up, Dawn? Over in Statesville, North Carolina. And also, Kiki Stevenson sent me a message, and she is tuned in. Her and Giggles are tuned in to the show tonight. So thank y'all so much. And we're going to roll into it here in just a minute. So, Paul, read some of your comments. Paul, NASCAR is about to return, Terry Quinn says. And Tom says, yes, I'm going to be so glad when it's over. We have to take all these extra precautions at work. I'm just over it. And if you didn't know, Tom is a fireman up there in Linton, Indiana. All right. So, hey, what's up, Tracy Ham? You know, David will be late for his own funeral. I know. I was doing some last minute catching up on some of my notes and such. You know, I can't really say it's been a busy day because I did the radio this morning. Of course, that's the start of a busy day from 6 to 10 in the morning. And so I didn't get my nap in because normally when I do the radio, I know I have to have my little nap. It might sound crazy, but it's actually just like a 10 to 15. You know what I did? I sat right here and I put my head down for about maybe 10 minutes. I didn't mean to lie. I know it sounded like it. What you up to, Tyler?
Not a whole lot. I was going to show them my hat that I have on here. The
Oh,
one
yeah.
from the Wood Brothers. This is the hat that they used to put on the Wood Brothers pit crew. That way that they knew that they were actually in the pit crew because people would just wear the white fire suits or whatever you call them back then. And they would act like they were on the pit crew, but they weren't really on the pit crew.
That's right. The Wood Brothers had their white uniforms, and they had that patch right there on their uniforms to distinguish them from other people that were trying to be like them. What's up, Linda Jinks? And Linda, tell us where you're from again, because I always forget that. Maybe we can get Dickie Dennis on here, a.k.a. River Rat. And if you didn't see the video that I put together of Dickie Dennis, he was the guy that climbed the fence in Richmond in 2014. So I just got done with a video and posted it yesterday. And it's pretty informative because it was from the interview I had with Dickie a few weeks ago on here when I was in the studio, and I had him call in. And so that was a very interesting video because it shows him climbing the wall, and it shows the different things that he went through whenever they handcuffed him, the 5 police officers and those types of things, and the fine that he had to pay. I'll put that link right up here, and you can click over and see that video after this video is run. Of course, happy birthday, Tyler, Rachel says.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And Linda. Tyler had a nice birthday. Tracy's.
I also got this cup that I was going to show y'all from Chicago Speedway, I think in 2016. What is it, for the Race of the Chase or something like that?
Yeah, the Race to the Chase.
Yep.
One of our cups that we got there at Roush Yates
September
Engines.
18th, 2016.
Yeah, it was a lot of work to get that cup. You think about it, when we won the championship last year, 2018, and I ain't complaining, but we got our rings, and that was what it's all about. And we got our bonus and things like that. But then Ford comes down, and they give us our coffee mug. So I was like, you know what? Last time we won a championship, we got these nice leather jackets with our little whatever inside. It talked about our engine building skills and that kind of stuff, you know, on the inside pocket. But that's all right. I don't have to worry about that anymore, which it wasn't really something to worry about, but I'm just saying. So when will NASCAR return, and who's replacing Larson? So I titled it that just to kind of I wanted to get your input on what y'all thought about the replacement for Larson. And we'll get into that in just a few minutes. But I wanted to mention Tommy Mullis. He was the hauler driver for Robert Yates Racing, and Dale Jarrett passed away the other day. And I remember Tommy from my days of traveling and seeing all those guys at the racetrack. And I didn't know if y'all knew, but whenever I was going to the track between 95 and 2001, I traveled with all the Robert Yates guys, all the Roush guys, all the teams. We all flew on the same airplane. The guys from Morgan McClure up in Virginia, they would drive down and they would fly with us. Just a lot of the different teams. I'd have to think about the rest of them, but yeah, we're going to talk about a little bit of the NASCAR news announcements, then do some Q&A, a little bit of cold beer, warm beer, and history bio, because I know there was a race, the iRace, that was run yesterday, and I'll be honest, I didn't watch it just because I'm kind of over the iRacing thing. I'm ready to get back to the real deal. If I want to watch a video game, I'm going to go on YouTube and watch a video game, but I'm just not as much into that. And plus, I have a lot going on. I'm trying to stay caught up in my Hamscape shop, get some of this stuff done and get mowing done. But some good news from Roy Cooper, who is the North Carolina governor. On Thursday, he said that North Carolina will remain on lockdown until May 8th. However, he has now made it the NASCAR is an essential business, so teams can return to their shops and resume working on cars. So that was some good news for my buddies in NASCAR. So we actually, one of my friends, Chris, has been coming over and helping me some here in the shop to try to get caught up on some of this work. And he worked with me over at Roush Yates Engines, and he returned to work today because they were actually told to go ahead and take their vacations, because once they go back to work, it's going to be a 7-day-a-week job, and they don't have any more vacations left. So what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to get all the racing in. I mean, the rest of the races, they're going to try to run them. They're going to run them on probably Wednesday and then run them on the weekends. So, they already had Pocono scheduled to run 2 races on the weekend. So that was kind of an interesting thing. So I wonder if you, okay. Somebody said, okay, so I got a group text going on from Liz and Dawn, and they said they're watching me on the big screen in the living room. And of course, someone says, no comment. Hey, that's what lockdown will do to you. You do what you can to stay entertained, I suppose.
And speaking of the iRacing, I have a couple friends that have the iRacing game at their house, and it's pretty cool because you can race sprint cars, legends, modifieds. You can race on dirt. All those are dirt cars. Well, you can race the legends on asphalt, and you can just do a whole lot of different everything you can think of when it comes to racing. You can do it on that iRacing.
It's actually a good time. I enjoyed doing it whenever I still have my steering wheel and my gas and the brake pedal, and it's up in the attic right now, but I would hook it up to my computer, put it on my computer desk and lock it down. And I'd sit there and I really get into it in my computer, start chopping a little bit, because it's the computers back in the day. And that was like 128 gigabyte, I believe the hard drive was on that thing. So yeah, the computers have come a long way since then, and so have all the graphics.
And it's very realistic, because when you're trying to drive cars, it's very sensitive, and you have to actually drive like they do in the dirt cars and stuff like that. It's easy to lose control if you give it too much throttle and all that stuff. So it's very realistic.
Speaking of dirt cars, we actually rode in a sprint car before. Believe it or not, we got to sit in the sprint car was a special one. It had a back seat, and it was through one of my friends at Roush Yates Engines whenever we got into the dirt tracking days with the Roush Yates. And we had one of our drivers, it was his cousin, and we got to jump in the car and ride around.
At Carolina Speedway in Gastonia.
Yeah, that was like a roller coaster ride. And that
was a good time. Yeah. It was scary at first, but then it turned into being exciting instead of scary.
Yeah. Then I just turned into the way you're going around the corners, you're just going sideways through the whole turn, which kind of reminded me of my go-karting days, but they kind of stuck a little bit better than the sprint cars are made to spin sideways through the turns. All right, so the first race they're talking about doing right now is the May 17th race at Darlington, and it is a track within 2-hour driving distance for teams, so they won't have to stay in hotels and risk the chance of the COVID-19 infection. So since they don't have to stay in hotels, I'm assuming that means that they're going to go right there to the track, race that day, and turn around and come back home, which is pretty much what I used to do when
I would have liked to go to that race. I went last year. I was looking forward to getting to go to that race again this year, but I'm sure it's going to be a no fans for a long time.
Yeah, that's true. So they're talking about running those races without the fans, but I still stick to, I say that would be actually a good idea, because I think the TV ratings would be really high, because there's no other sports on TV right now. So think about it. You put the race on TV, people are going to watch it. People that would normally watch other sports are going to be watching it. All right, so Linda Jinks says she's in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And Steve Baker, he's up in Virginia. He said it was pretty funny and informative. I think he must be talking about Texas announced they are coming out of lockdown with restrictions. So we will see how that goes. Tom says, I haven't got over Matt wrecking the 22, so I could live out Kenseth, and I live without Kenseth, and I was a huge fan of his. I was too. And, after he left and he was driving for other teams, let's just say, and he ended up doing that and taking out our Ford that we had a really good chance of winning the championship with, Logano, there at Martinsville, leading the race. And then Kenseth comes out. I think he was a lap down at that point, I believe. He comes up and just takes out Joey because he was given retaliation for what happened at Kansas. So that did not make me happy with him. And before that, I actually liked Kenseth for many years because I built engines for him. I was his engine builder in, 2005, I guess it would have been, and 2000, something like that.
When he drove the DeWalt.
Yeah, he drove that's right. Drove that DeWalt car. And so we had some issues there at the beginning of the season. I told him, I said, I built this engine for you coming up next race at Vegas. And I believe he had won the first two races. It was something crazy. And so I was like, we're on a roll, built you this other good engine. It's gonna be fine. And he went out there and broke the valve. It wasn't my fault. I'll go ahead and put that disclaimer out there. But yes. So he did actually, the next time he saw me, he came into to the shop and he said, you know what? I thought about you when I got out of the car. He said, I felt bad because I remembered what you had told me, and I was hoping you didn't think that maybe you jinxed it or something like that. And I said, no, but I appreciate you saying that. So other than that, Matt was a cool guy, very sarcastic personality, but always a great. The team that he worked with, the Risers he drove for in the Busch Series, were a great family. I got to be good friends with them. And he was racing. His biggest competitor back then was Dale Jr. in the Busch Series. And I was also friends with those guys over there, Tony Uri, Senior and Junior. Tracy says, I do know the Trevisons watch the iRace on their boat. Yes, they're down in Florida. We're going to go see them in a few weeks. So Linda Jinks, yay. Steve Baker, yeah, talk of the town, Tom. Rachel Rodman, I feel the same way, Tom. I was surprised Ganassi picked Matt, given all the drivers wanting a ride. Yes. And who was the Ross Chastain? I think that was the one we thought that Ganassi was going to pick, but that didn't work out because he wanted a veteran driver like Kenseth that has been a proven winner. I guess just to finish out the season. Maybe he's going to put Ross in that car next year. Maybe. So Steve says they need to put jumps on the NASCAR tracks. LOL. That would be fun. Yes, Steve, we could mix up a little bit, make some figure 8 tracks and things like that. Linda Jinks says, not a fan of Matt Kenseth, not happy with him coming back. Yeah, it is kind of a mixed feeling for me too. If you don't know what we're talking about, Matt Kenseth has been hired by Chip Ganassi to drive the 42 car to replace Kyle Larson, who said a bad word, and he got kicked out of his ride, lost his sponsorship, lost a lot of money, lost a lot of everything. Okay, so what is that on my shirt? This is my shirt. David Ham, the Engine Man. The Engine Man is actually what I do for podcast because I talk about NASCAR and engines and my experience building engines. So I actually came up with this design. It's got my brand, which is the Hamscapes, right in the center. And then I put it between a couple pistons. And speaking of pistons, I got some show and tell to show you. And on Tyler's shirt, he's got a Florida Gator.
Yep.
I remember when I got you that.
Gators.
I got you that at Kohl's years ago.
Back when I was in 10th grade, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah. So I got this piston. It's from one of Joey's winning engines. And I'm surprised I didn't write it on there. Maybe it was Texas or somewhere. But I got Joey to sign it. See, it says Joey Logano, number 22. Of course, I cleaned it up. It wasn't this clean when it came out of the engine, of course. But this is, it's been cleaned up. But this is a coating that we run on the pistons, and it's kind of top secret. So can't get too close to that. And this is another one that I had from when the 38 car won the 150 win in 2005. That would have been Elliott Sadler when he was driving that Eminem's car, and he won one of the 150s at Daytona. And look how short the skirt was on these Daytona pistons back then, compared, because this was back whenever they were really restrictor plate engines, and we actually had the really short skirts on the pistons. So there you go. Pretty cool stuff. Sent the engine back and rebuilt it and sent it back down to run in the Daytona 500. I don't remember how it did the second time it ran, but I've got a whole box of those pistons somewhere from different wins back whenever I could get those pistons. It eventually got to where we had to pretty much keep everything in a box in what we called our library, so that if we had any issues, we could go back and check hardness and, different things on, because that way you can tell how hot the piston got in different places. You check the hardness in different places around the top of the piston. So Terry says, ooh, I love the figure eights. Steve says, yeah, Chastain is sticking to Xfinity for the championships. Steve Baker says, it says David Ham engine and has an engine on it with two pistons looking like guys with hats on. LOL. It does kind of look like that, don't it?
A little bit.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. This looks like this could be a nose. This could be a big upper lip and a chin.
Looks like one of those little statues or something.
Hey, I did not plan it that way.
I wanted to bring back up, though, when we were talking about fans going to the races, I wonder, even if they did sell tickets to the races, if people would still be hesitant to go to the races if they would not sell tickets that great because of the COVID-19. I think people would still be hesitant, not want to buy tickets. That's what something I was thinking about earlier.
That's a good point. That is a very good point. But I bet people, especially as crowded as it is in a race.
But a lot of people that go to NASCAR events don't really care that much about. I wouldn't say they're not the most clean people, but there's some rough people out there. A lot of them might not care, especially if you have a camper in the infield. Keep their distance.
Especially the ones that like to climb the fence. Dickie Dennis. Where's he at? Where's River at? There's some of the specs for Matt Kenseth. Just let me read it to you. Matt has won. He has 665 starts. He has 39 wins, 181 top 5 finishes, and 329 top 10 finishes. So he's got some impressive stats. Got to give him that. So Steve Baker, probably not good if it was missing a piston, LOL. I actually should do one that's got 8 pistons on it, because that's typically what I build. I've got one now that I'm working on as an inline 8-cylinder engine. I say I should roll that sucker over here. Tyler, you want to help me with that? I could roll that thing over here and show it to you. That'd be kind of interesting. Dawn says, I thought they were pistons once I saw the engine man, but but then we thought it looked like flying monkeys from the Wizard of Oz. Liz.
Turn the camera a little bit.
Thanks, Liz.
See it from right there.
Yeah, I don't really want to. It's kind of junky over there, my old Mustang. So, yeah, they do. I guess I didn't really think about what they look like when I designed it. I just thought flames. But it's probably, too, some of the glare off the lights it's my LED lights up in the ceiling that are really bright. I don't even have an extra light put up. That's just how bright it is in here. And I've got all these lights back here turned off. So start it up, Terry Quinn says. Yes, they the engine I'm talking about over here goes to a 1947 Buick convertible. I say that convertible. But I still got a 65 Thunderbird convertible over this way that I'm finished with it for the most part. But the customer wants me to keep it in the dry and all that stuff for him. He's not really taking it to car shows right now. So I'm just kind of keeping it for him. I guess I could show you if y'all want to see. I know you've probably already seen this car, but I'm going to show it to you again. All right, let's go here. All right, if y'all like my American flag, that's the one that was hanging up at the WAME studio. All right, there's the 65 that I've been working on for a little while now. I kind of turned this little table here that I'm working out of.
And speaking of Matt Kansas, we got a Matt Kansas flag back
there.
Oh,
yeah. All right, I got to turn my tripod now.
Angle it up and show that flag back there.
There's my Matt Kansas flag
Crown
right there.
Royal. I think it's a Crown Royal car.
Yep. It's the Crown Royal number 17. All right, there's that Camaro 396 that I'm still working on. Okay, so there's the engine over there. I've got a light set up because I'm doing a video on replacing oil pressure switch on a 2005 Chevrolet, or actually it covers different year models of Chevrolet engines. So I've got my light set up over there so that I can replace that switch. Well, all right, I'll have you pull that over here.
It's going to take both of us.
No, it won't. Just stand in front of it and push it this way. Okay, so what else we got going on? So the race that they're talking about running at Darlington would normally be the weekend of the All-Star race. But I was thinking they were going to start back around Charlotte time, but it looks like now we're going to actually start. No, it's right here, son. No. That one right there. That's the Camaro engine. This is the 47 Buick inline 8-cylinder. Y'all probably never seen the inline 8-cylinder. Probably never. This is the first one I've actually worked on. Okay, so yeah, I think they definitely want to get back to the Southern 500 throwback race because that's going to be the start of the playoffs. I'm not sure how they're going to figure it out doing the playoffs and double up races and all that. Yeah, just pull the bags off. Yeah, so here's that engine behind me here if y'all are interested in seeing that. So imagine that long inline 8 engine in your car. It's a pretty cool setup. Yep. I got the cam in it. So the rest of it I'm working on. Oh yeah, Brad, you got this shirt in black and short sleeves. That's what I need to get. I should have got a black short sleeve shirt, but because I haven't really wore this one but a few times. It just happened to be a little bit chilly tonight, so I decided to go ahead and wear it tonight. All right, so Rachel says it sounds like the rest of the year will be in fast forward with everything trying to catch up in NASCAR. Yes. And that's exactly why those guys, when they get back to work, they're going to be working 7 days a week. They're going to be. So, I'm not going to say, well, I'm going to say I'm glad that I'm not a part of that because that would drive me nuts. I'm at the point in my life now where I like to see the sun. I like to be outside when it's spring or summer. I don't want to be locked in a building, and I did that for way too many years. Maybe it helped my skin to stay young, and maybe not.
Don't get carried away.
I know, right? So Brad Keselowski says he is terribly conflicted and doesn't know how he feels about NASCAR racing next month. He wants to get back to racing, but at the same time, he doesn't want anyone to get sick when it's preventable. So I understand. I bet you there's a lot of the different drivers that are kind of feeling that same way.
And the crew, if the crew comes to the track.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's all those people. That's still a lot of people at the track.
Yeah, so Brad says he really feels the ones who have to make that decision, feels for the ones that had to make that decision because there's really not a good opinion, and they can't just sit around doing nothing because they are draining valuable resources, and they can't afford to do that. That's for sure. Where am I on my? Okay, so NASCAR could wait till June or later, but they want to make up the races. And when the NASCAR returns, they will be racing without the fans in the grandstands, which is what we mentioned already. So Richard Childress had an auction. Try to find this. Wait a minute. Try to find on. No, never mind. I get it. All right.
Richard Childress had an auction, and he was auctioning off some personal items from his car collection that he has to benefit people for the COVID-19. One of the really cool items that were in that auction was a Dale Earnhardt Sr. car from 1990, and it was a pre-production die cast. And there were also some other cars in there that didn't really get mentioned, but that was the main one that that people were really had their eye on, was that Dale Earnhardt car. I can't remember what it was sold for, but I saw I saw somewhere where somebody was talking about it would go for around $30,000. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I remember reading that saying something about $30,000. But either way, it's good of him to do that, auction off some of his personal cars, because I know that's not an easy thing to do, especially when you have somebody's car like Dale Earnhardt Sr., who is no longer with us. That's a great car to have in a collection. So
yeah,
that's nice of him to do that and give his proceeds for the COVID-19.
For sure. So I was showing y'all some pistons. I know I'm kind of bouncing all over the place, but I was showing you all this piston that we used in our race engine. I don't know, 5 years ago. So this is a piston that we used in the race engine 25 years ago. All right, so you see the difference. The difference in the size, difference in the skirt size. There's a big difference in the weight, difference in the compression. It's basically flat top dish versus the dome. Yeah. And so this is the old piston we ran back whenever we were running like 14-1 in NASCAR. We had to cut our own pockets and cut our own dish to get the right compression ratio back in the old NASCAR days. And I would actually have to drill a hole. The other thing that's a lot different is the size of the wristband hole. That's a big hole. Okay, so basically these holes, my pinky goes in like a perfect fit, okay? And this hole, all right, my thumb goes in it.
And there's a piece of copper in that one or something, right?
Yeah, that was to help with the different size and to be smaller and the more friction, less wear and things like that. Okay, so here's a drag racing piston. Okay, so a drag racing piston of these days, some sort, versus our big NASCAR engine piston back in the day. So, there's a difference, but there's the drag racing piston's made. You see how big the wristband is. It's definitely made to withstand all the horsepower, because actually in one cylinder on a drag racing engine is about the same amount of horsepower in all 8 cylinders on a NASCAR.
Where did that one
engine
come from? Do you remember?
With this one here?
Race.
Yeah, we got it at one of the drag races, maybe from, I don't even remember who the driver was. But the piston for this engine behind me, this 1947 Buick inline engine, is this one right here. So quite a bit different, but it's a different size engine, different size piston. So whenever you hear people say the bore size, they're talking about basically the size of the bore that this piston goes in. There's bore and stroke. The stroke's how it goes up and down in the cylinder, or how long the tallest cylinder is, and how long the rod is makes a difference and all that stuff. So Tracy says they say size matters. There you go. How about that big bore right there? All right, so Terry says, I looked for Childress auction and it was gone, taken down. So what happened there? I wonder why that was. Rachel says, I know Dale Sr. would be happy to see Childress do that. They were such great friends. So I'm assuming the auction got taken down because everything got gone. I think that's fair to say. Yeah. All right. So what else is going on before the start of the Talladega race? So this is going to the. Oh, here you read about the items in the auction, right, Tyler?
Right.
Before the start of the Talladega I race, Ryan Newman walked into the NASCAR on Fox broadcast booth and said that when NASCAR resumes, he will make his return. which actually didn't surprise me. I mean, I think everybody kind of already knew it. I think it's just kind of cool that he was able to announce it. And Tyler was saying earlier that Ryan Newman. So I know where Rescue Ranch is. It's out there near Liz's work. So Liz, where is Ryan Newman's house beside Southern Distillery?
Or there's his shop. He has a shop out there, and I heard he lives out there. So I don't know. I feel like he has a shop somewhere else, maybe separate from his house, and they're all kind of close. I'm not sure.
I just realized I'm like, Liz.
Mhm.
I'm not sure why I did it like that, but okay. So during the Talladega race, if y'all watched the iRace, I just saw little bits and pieces of it. Like I said, I didn't watch the whole race. It was the Geico 70, so they got sponsors for these races too. Denny Hamlin's 7-year-old daughter walked up to him with a remote and asked her dad if they could play with their go-karts. Suddenly, Denny shouted. His screen went black. His daughter had pushed a button on the remote. As she slipped away, she was heard on her video saying, "Uh-oh." Denny finished last with a DNF. I think he made it all the way down to I think there was 4 laps to go in overtime or something. He made it all the way down to the end, and then she cut the TV off.
It's something that'll happen, though, whenever you got people and they're racing. If they're racing at their house, they have the setup at their house or something. But
yeah, that's for sure. All right, so Leah says across the street. So I guess he lives across the street from Southern Distillery. All righty. That's where Liz works, at Southern Distillery, where they have for all your hand sanitizer needs, go to Southern Distillery. Actually, but they don't sell them you have to buy it in a big container, I guess. But hey, you could buy a big container,
truckload,
and put it in smaller containers and sell it. I'll bet that's what Liz and Dawn are doing right now. They are bottling up hand sanitizer. I got it. Busted. Okay, after winning Sunday's iRace, Alex Bowman spoke of wanting to be with Hendrick Motorsports long term in regards to his contract. Duh. All right, Bowman is in his 3rd year at HMS. He started out as a sub driver for an injured Dale Jr. in 2016. Let's see, if I were driving for a team, not that I'm a fan of Hendricks, but a team that's been around.
They got a lot of money in a nice shop there. I've been to one of their race shops. It's very, very, very nice.
Yeah, they've been around forever. I mean, think about it. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Good drivers too. Seems like they always have good drivers, good teammates.
Yep. Even if the drivers seem to start out slow, they always end up being big drivers. I mean, look at Jeff Gordon.
And he's willing to put the money in to get the results.
Yeah.
So,
yes. I mean, look at all the drivers that have been through Hendricks through the years. The Tim Richmonds, the Jeff Bodine.
Jimmy Johnson.
Yep. So Alex Bowman won the Talladega race, iRace, that is, on fuel mileage, making his 3rd win in a row in an overtime finish. Bowman won Bristol and Richmond. If I'm not mistaken, Bowman was one that had a big background in this iRacing stuff.
What exactly is an overtime finish?
Well, I believe it's whenever a caution happens at a certain point near the end. They don't want the race to finish. Well, I'm thinking about iRacing. I know it is in the Cup regular racing. I mean, they don't want the race to finish under caution, yeah, because it's less exciting for the fans. And I don't like to see a race get down to the last lap, somebody spins out, because here's the other thing: your teammate could spin out, and if you're winning the race, well, they just seal the deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just not good. First 15 laps were uneventful until a 17-car pileup occurred when race leader Ricky Stenhouse spun Ty Dillon. Imagine that. The crash also included Chase Elliott, Jimmy Johnson, and Jeff Gordon. So Jeff was racing in this race. I think it's the first time. Okay, he was making his iRacing debut or debut and was running 5th when the incident occurred. I don't know why I said it like that. Occurred. River Rat, he says, my ears are burning. Yes, I was talking about you earlier. We're talking about how I forgot what I was saying. It was something about race fans. So, yes, with 7 laps to go, all 3 Penske drivers wrecked, also collecting Ross Chastain. Dale Jr., Chris Buescher, Eric Jones. Okay. Scratch on through. The next event is scheduled to be the last of the 6-week series. It is unclear if they will run the iRacing at virtual Martinsville. My question is, I wonder if they're going to run it, if they will race once the race season starts back, if they're still going to race iRacing. I think the younger drivers will, but I don't think the older ones will. And I don't know if y'all heard that, Bubba decided he wasn't going to run them anymore because he was getting too burned out. And so, plus he made his sponsor mad because he quit. So Blue Emu.
His NASCAR career just hasn't been the greatest.
Yeah, that's true. It's been a little bit rocky.
Yep.
So the cold beer goes to Alex Bowman. He was amused when he won the race. Corey LaJoie finished a close second in his iRacing debut. Ryan Preece came in third and now has 4 top 10s out of the top 5 races.
And you can't help but wonder if the younger drivers have an advantage because of the iRacing, because a lot of them were already iRacing before, before they were forced to do the iRacing. Some of them were already doing that just for fun.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
like they were talking about the kid from the one that raced the 24 car.
Yeah,
how he had all those wins because he's been doing it for a long time. 24 car.
Yeah, I was trying to think.
Can't think of his name.
Roman's 88. Who's in the 24 car now?
The one that went to Liberty.
It's been so long since we raced now. All right.
I can't think of his name, but he has an advantage because he's ran so many races already in iRacing.
Yeah. So Liz says, I have definitely had dreams about it. He went from bourbon to hand sanitizer in 2 weeks.
William Byron.
Yes.
That's what I was talking about.
William Byron. That's it. Yeah, Steve says Bubba needs a new team. He's a good driver. His team sucks. It would be interesting to see what he could do if he was put in a better team. I mean, let's just face it. Let's say a Penske car or one of those Toyota. Well, I don't even want to say it. Okay, so yeah, Linda says William Byron. Terry says William Byron. River Rat says hot beer for Denny because he let his daughter cut off his screens while racing. Yes.
You would think with a lot of money like that, you could hire a babysitter or something for the portion of the race to at least watch your kid. You got all that money.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it could be out in a swimming pool.
I'm not a Denny Hamlin fan personally, so I'm not upset that happened to him.
The warm beer goes to, well, okay, let's go back to cold beers here. We got some, and cold beer basically means that when they do good, they get a cold beer. So in third, now has 4 of the top 10s out of 5 races. Kyle and Kurt Busch, both brothers, finished in the top 10, while Kyle finishing at 8th, Kurt in 9th. And I know something else. Kenza said he's looking forward to getting back to racing with Kurt Busch because they raced with each other over at Roush. Actually, when Kurt won the championship for us with Ford in 2004, Kenseth was also one of the drivers. Man, those were some good years with Kenseth and Biffle
and Edwards
and Carl Edwards.
And
who winning
what's his name
every
was racing
week
too. The one that used to race the UPS car was racing for a little bit at first.
Dale Jarrett
was racing.
I was getting fat off those biscuits that we were having. Every week we would win a race, we get a biscuit. Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, that's right. And so yeah, I saw my buddy Chris last week for the first time in a year since I left NASCAR. And you look like you lost some weight. I didn't take that too far, though. I said, it's probably because I'm wearing black, Black is slimming. Thank you very much. All right, Jeff Gordon, though he finished 38, he received a cold beer for the spectacular high-flying accident when he landed his car on the catch fence. All righty.
Impressive.
Good job. Yes, so the warm beers, Clint Boyer is having the worst luck of the virtual world. While running up the front and having one of his best days, his engine let go, and he ended up in 33rd. I was going to say Clint Boyer.
I like Clint Boyer. He's got a good personality.
Yeah, you met Clint.
I met him, and
picture of you on Facebook.
He was ready to take a picture and everything, so that's why I like him.
Yeah.
Kevin Harvick, not so much. That's the one person that didn't want to take a picture, but it's okay. I know a lot of fans and stuff, so it's understandable.
Yeah, he's kind of that way. No, he's not kind of that way. He's that way.
Yeah.
But I was thinking with Clint Boyer trying to do this iRacing, he's probably like, oh, I got to go do it. Kind of like me trying to sit down and do something. I'm like, ran by, I'm always finding other things to jump into.
The best was Austin Dillon, because he told me to cross over the yellow line where the drivers walk down pit road. He was walking down that, and there's a yellow line you're not supposed to cross. And I said, "Can I get a picture?"
Oh.
And he told me to come on, and the security started yelling, and he said, "No, it's fine." So that was pretty cool.
Now, who was that?
Austin Dillon.
Oh, yeah, Austin Dillon. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you actually also met him up at Millbridge.
And his wife, I met his brother. I met his brother at Millbridge, Ty Dillon. His brother was the one that we were just talking about.
Oh, Ty was there. Yeah, I thought Austin was okay.
Yeah.
So Linda says, I'm not a fan. I'm with Tyler, not a fan. Yeah. So Colbert, for all the teams that have been working on COVID-19 stuff, Steve Baker says, and Ford for building regulators without having to be forced to. Yes. River Rat, Fear the Four. Check out Fear the Four on Facebook. It's hilarious. And you can also find the link to the video that I put of River Rat climbing the fence at Richmond in 2014. Hilarious, actually. It's pretty funny. It's a good subject. So River Rat, today on Twitter, someone said that they saw the police report from that incident. So they said that my video wasn't exactly accurate, but then again, they ended up retweeting my video of you climbing the fence. And they said that the original thing wasn't accurate because they said it was your birthday and you wanted to be on TV. So that's what the police report said, or at least that's what, there's always two sides to every story, but I'm going with your side because you're my buddy. All right. So Tracy says Raw Right E also builds stuff for military vehicles. Yes, they do, because her brother used to work there, and that's one of the things he did. And when I worked over in a machine shop, we did a lot of that stuff. Terry says, I met Kevin back when he drove the 75 truck for Spears. Wow, that was a long time ago. Lonnie says, Matt in the 42, he needs to go back under that rock. He's been hiding under, yeah. I hope Ross goes to the 48 after hearing the news. So Ross is probably finishing out the Xfinity this year and concentrating on that, I'm assuming. And I'm thinking that next year he'll probably slide into that ride. So what else we got here? As of, the warm beer also was to Denny Hamlin for his day. Ended with it when his daughter hit the remote, as who said that? Steve Baker or Dickie said that earlier. As of May, it was 67 years that a man, machine, and monkey made history. It's comical, surreal, scarcely believable history, but it's hilarious nonetheless. Have you heard of this monkey, Tyler? Jocko?
Mm-mm.
Jocko was a Reese's monkey. His name, they were calling him Jocko Flocko. So this is kind of a history in NASCAR. Pretty funny. And I should do a video on this and there's only a few pictures of Jocko Flocko out there. So he was a Reese's monkey and was found in an Atlanta pet shop by Tim Flock. So he was a monkey that rode around and raced with Tim Flock. So it happened on a half-mile dirt track in Hickory, North Carolina in 1953, and a hotshot driver named Tim Flock was coming off of a dominant 1952 season. He won 8 of 33 races en route to the championship. So Jocko Flocko, that Reese's monkey, he rode shotgun in Tim's 53 Hudson Hornet. And the sponsor for the car, Ted Chester, thought it would be a great gimmick to keep his driver in the spotlight. So they had a special seat, a uniform, and a helmet with goggles made for Jocko. And the reason I'm talking about Jocko is because last week I brought it up. He just flashed into my mind for some reason. I remembered seeing this because I thought about the little flap that they used to pull. They used to grab, and Leonard Wood was telling me about this. They had a chain, a rope hooked to this flap. They pull on the flap, and then they could see what the tire wear was doing. So I'm going to read some of these comments right quick.
I was going to say that the animal rights people wouldn't go for that nowadays.
No, not nowadays for sure. Yep. So River Rat says, I told her that after she grabbed the bottle of water, I was kind of sarcastic and told her when she asked why I did it, it's my birthday. That's why the police report says that. Oh, I'm going to have to tell the guy on Twitter. That's why. So Dawn says, maybe that's why there are monkeys on your shirt. I'm going to show Liz the picture of Jocko now. It's one of my favorites. Yeah. I could say that. Jocko, this is Jocko, and this is Flacco, even though they're the same person. So Lonnie Uten says, hey, Rachel, hope everyone is safe. Hope you are too there. So May 16th, 1953, where did I get 18 from? Hickory Speedway, Tim and Jocko took the checkers, making history as Jocko became the first and only monkey to win a NASCAR race. They won $1,000. And another one they won. Okay. Oh, well, here's the deal what they were doing. The story goes that one of the drivers looked over when they saw Jocko and almost wrecked. As Tim drove past other drivers, it broke their concentration. So his first race was April 5th, 1953 at the Old Charlotte Speedway dirt track, which is actually right down the street from where I used to work over when I worked at Sabco, the old mellow yellow car there on North Trine. And so that race, they led 87 and 150 laps, finished fourth, and won $350. And NASCAR, who has strict rules today, turned a blind eye to Jocko. In fact, Frances Flock, Tim's widow, nor Dick Passwater remember the sanctioning body saying it was a bad idea. So Tim lost the next two races. One of the races was in Columbus, Ohio. But check this out. Prior to the event, Tim and his brother Fonnie had checked into a motel along with Jocko. They left Jocko in the room alone while they went to the track to unload the cars. While gone, Jocko got out of his cage and was playing around in the room. A maid came in to bring some towels. Coming out of hiding, Jocko jumped on her back and started pulling her hair. The woman thought some unholy creature had a hold on her. She exited the room screaming. She exited the room. It says excited. She exited the room screaming, arms flailing in the air. That's a hard word to say. Flailing in the air.
And they got kicked out of the hotel and had to sleep in their car.
How about that?
With the monkey, I guess.
So this is when the trouble started, though. This is pretty much the downfall of Flacco, and this is a sad ending to the tale of Flacco. They headed to the inaugural race at Raleigh Speedway in 1953 on May the 30th. He believed he could turn his season around. Sure enough, Tim and Jocko ran near the front of the pack. During the final third of the race, only Tim's brother Flonnie was ahead of him. And then trouble struck as Jocko slipped out of his harness. Do you want to read the rest of that?
Yeah. Jocko slipped out of his harness. Tim tells him in a book called Dirt Tracks to Glory, the early days of stock car racing, is told by participants, we had a chain that ran to the floorboard that was what you're talking about, the tire wear and stuff.
Yeah.
Jocko had seen him do it. So as soon as he got loose, he went straight to the hole and stuck his head through. The tire zipped him on the head. He liked it, went crazy. Jocko screamed and started jumping around inside the car, and took all Tim had to keep his car on the track. He managed to get into the pits and to hand the monkey off to a crew member. So basically what happened was he saw him pulling up that chute to check the tire wear. The monkey did. He got loose from his harness. He tried to do the same thing, and it zipped his head.
But he tried to do the same thing, but he put his head down in the hole.
And it zipped his head.
And then I guess some of the tire, dirt, something off the tire came up and hit him.
So then he scared him to the pits.
Scared the mess out of him. So they took him to the pits.
Still finished third, though, and won $1,200. But as for Jocko, he retired immediately.
Yeah, he said that Jocko was never the same after that. He refused to eat and had to be euthanized. So that was the end of Jocko. And I believe I've only seen a couple of pictures of him. But so Tim died in 1998. When they wrote up his obituary, they couldn't leave out Jocko. Tim was one of the greatest ambassadors of the sport and a storyteller in NASCAR. So let's see what some of the comments say. Maybe that's Dawn had said she was going to show Liz. Yeah, Dawn said she was going to show Liz the pictures of Jocko. So River Rat says she wore a bad. Okay, we're still talking about the water incident. Yeah, Tracy says I can hear them testing the cars at Hickory Speedway at my work. Yeah, you're that close to Hickory Speedway. Lonnie Otten, I missed a lot on here. So Larson and to be a Ford, be like #1 draft pick. I hope he goes to SHR, and not sure what to say about the fence climber. Just it was the cool best seat in the house. Now I'm caught up. Yes, if you want to see that video, Lonnie, you go check it out. I've got it on here. It's the one before this one, and I talked to River Rat here. I talked to him on there and explain. He tells the whole story, so it's pretty cool. It's been getting a lot of attention because it's actually pretty funny.
SC Pyro said it's been a while. Wanted to stop in.
Oh yeah, hey, what's up, man? Good to see you, SC Pyro. Thanks for tuning in. Yep. So Terry says I want to say it's Cars too. They have a hauler called
Jocko Flacco.
Jocko Flacco. Oh, cool.
Cars movie, the kids.
Oh,
yes. Cars.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. You know, whenever they do things like that to keep the history of NASCAR alive and that kind of stuff. So if you haven't hit that bell notification and hit subscribe, please do so, and hit like on this video. And if you like, and also after the video is over, you can go back on and comment. You can share with your friends. Tell them to tune in next week if they're a NASCAR fan or if they just want to hang out and have a good time and talk about whatever. Because we pretty much just hang out and talk about whatever you want to talk about. And it usually lasts pretty close to an hour, but the time flies when you're having fun. I looked at the clock a couple times. I'm like, no way, it's already quarter after or thereabout. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. James Richard Dickie Dennis. Yes. What a character. Go on and watch that other video. And I'm going to try to put that link at the end of this video so you can see that also. So if you go back and watch this video, and then when you get to the very end, that video is going to pop up as a suggested video to watch. Otherwise, just go onto my page and you can find it right there. Pretty funny stuff. I'm going to keep trying to do some more stuff on history of NASCAR. And if you want to see some more of that kind of stuff and you're on Facebook, go on to our NASCAR Country Facebook page. And we're always posting stuff on there, some of the history of NASCAR and some of the videos that I put together and things like that. And also check out DHammiam.com. And tune in on WAMEradio.com because you can listen to us live on there. Check us out on Facebook. And you'll see me there some mornings. And we're going to start up music again this Thursday and Friday. We're going to have a band. We're going to have Stephen Winger in on Thursday, and we're going to have a band in on Friday. So it's a bluegrass kind of country band. All right. Thanks, everybody, so much for tuning in. And y'all be safe out there. And we will see you next time.
Thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it.
Son, 25 years young,
Yep.
a quarter of a century years.
Yep.
And I'll be half a century next year.
Right.
Wow. All right. So I was your age when you were born, basically.
Yeah.
Something like that. All right. Good night, everybody. See you next time. Have a great week.